Hi, Dr. Dan Moselle, Moselle Holistic here. How are you? Welcome to day two. We here at Moselle Holistic decided to help support people in any way we can. If we can't get our hands on you, you can't get away from us that easy. Just know we're after you. No, but we were talking at the office how we can help people, and we really decided that it started off just it was just going to be recording one exercise, exercise for the week, and then we kind of grew to doing this every day, Monday through Friday. So hopefully you'll find this helpful. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what I've seen talking to people, and of course, I'm sure you all see it. There's a lot of fear and unknown and anxiety in regards to this coronavirus, this COVID-19, and rightly so. It's definitely a challenge, and none of us on the earth had immunity to it as of a few months ago. So this kind of thing that could you really didn't know, and we don't know how strong it is. Truthfully, they really won't know until it's kind of all done. But in the meantime, one thing I do know for a fact is that when you're anxious and nervous, your cortisol levels shoot up. And when your cortisol levels shoot up, your immunity goes down. And also, when your cortisol levels go up, our, our insulin levels go up. And when our insulin levels are high, we crave sugars, comfort foods. So a lot of you are finding, I'm talking to people, and I'm sure some of you may see this, that you've been kind of craving more of the breads, the pastas, the potatoes, and all that kind of stuff. So that could very well be a reason why. So, and and then a lot of people, it's easy to say just don't worry about things, to just relax, but it's a physiological thing. It's in our body that's making this happen. So we need to have tools that can help, and that's my goal these next few weeks. It looks like it's going to be the next few weeks. Is I'm going to be every Tuesday. My goal is to be. I want to every time we're going to discuss one or two different breathing techniques. We'll do that today, and a subject, and this is near and dear to my heart, is our autonomic nervous system. Um, I'm gonna I wanted to show. Excuse me. We have our autonomic nervous system is mainly controlled by one nerve. It's a nerve that comes out of the brain, the base of the brain. Um, I'm going to share my screen. Excuse me a sec. I want to show you a couple of pictures I think are absolutely amazing. Oh, I'm on. Okay. Oh, let me see. So overall, our autonomic system controls. I wish I could make this bigger. I haven't been able to figure out how to do that. But you see, it controls the eyes. So think about the autonomic nervous system. A good way to think about, like for me, I think of my freshman year of high school speech class. My eye, my mouth got dry, so it affects the salivary glands. It affects the eyeball. It affects our heart. I remember, man, my heartbeat was beating right out of my chest. My palms were dry, so because all the sweat glands, they, they just they needed to be elsewhere. The blood left my hand. It was more in my trunk. And then so it affects the lungs, the stomach, the liver, the gallbladder, all your small intestine. This is this really shows This is your vagus nerve. When people talk about the vagus nerve, and that's once again, it's not the best picture, but it really shows how it's coming. All those yellows there, that's innervating your lungs, your heart, all your small intestine, and it even comes down into the pelvis area. And it's just a huge, huge nerve. Crazy, and crazy how big it is. So anyhow, I don't know what. Uh, so anyhow, we that's that's your vagus nerve. So I'm going to have you. Let's do me a favor. Let's do a little experiment. Just as of right now, just hold your breath. We're going to hold it for about 10, 15 seconds here. Just hold your breath. Hold it. Hold it. Now let it out. You can breathe. So, how did that feel? Started to get a little uncomfortable, right? So, the thing is that we can go for approximately 3 weeks without food. We can go for about 3 days without water, but we can only go about 3 minutes without air. We need to breathe all the time, and as a matter of fact, we do it about 23,000 times per day, day in, day out. And if you're breathing suboptimal or even just plain wrong, it's hard. It puts a lot of stress on our nervous system. So and it's just and what I find, and I bought a book. I'll never forget. I bought a book when I was about 25 years old, and it was written in 1903 by a yogi from India, Yogi Ramacharaka. I still have the book. It's on my bedside. And he talked about way back in 1903 about how us in the West, and unfortunately the East has caught up with us in a bad way, how we did not know how to breathe. And back then, so I'm going to teach you a couple things about breath and why it's so important today. Because dysfunctional breathing patterns I'm sure most of you remember back in grade school, you learned, or high school, you learned about the autonomic nervous system, right? Like we've been talking about. But there's that sympathetic fight or flight or freeze, like I might be here during the Zoom call at some point. But then there's the parasympathetic, and that's the rest, digest, and that's and a big way I've discovered about 5, 6, 7 years ago about this heart rate variability, and that is a great tool. So I'm going to be introducing that more and more into my practice because we now have this we have these heart rate monitors that we use for part of our 8 weeks to wellness, and with that you can get a free app that will tell you what your heart rate variability is, and it's a wonderful, wonderful tool. And the reason it's so, what the heart rate variability is so the sympathetic and parasympathetic, they're constantly arm wrestling with each other. You have the sympathetic wants to get that heart going, boom, 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 and the parasympathetic is saying, no, 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 calm down, relax, relax, slow, slow, slow. So it's constantly back and forth every day. And a big way to control that is with our breath. Um, so that sympathetic keeps us forever vigilant. So and then the parasympathetic, where we should be 99% of the time. But you don't want to be too much sympathetic. You need otherwise your heart, it'd be hard to get off the couch. So you need some of that sympathetic. So it needs to be in a balance. And like I said, the easiest, best way to do that is breath. something you're doing every day. So you may as well do it correctly. And there's certain exercises. If you were to spend 2 to 5 minutes a day, it could really make a huge difference in your health. So so what the heart rate variability is, so like say your heart's beating 60 times per minute. So you would think that that meant there was each every second, boom, your heart's beating, boom, boom. And if you're under stress, it would be there's very little variability. Actually, the heart rate variability, the more variability there is, that means the better your parasympathetic tone, which is good. It's a healthier way to be. So, like say 1 second, and one between one beat might be 0.96 seconds, and the next one might be 1.02. So then it might be 0.95. So you want that up and down, back and forth, and the greater your when your heart rate variability is off, like I mentioned earlier, your risk of cardiac mortality is is higher. Your immunity goes down. You're more at risk for depression, anxiety. You can get acid reflux, restless leg syndrome, a lot of times low back pain, and definitely libido can be affected as well. So I'm going to share my screen here again. So the biggest part I find about breathing is that we don't. I have people. I'll say, show me how you take a deep breath, and they'll go. So yeah, now they just fill the upper third of their lungs, and and that's the skinniest part of the lungs, the least efficient part of the lungs. Our lungs come all the way down. You feel down to the end of your rib cage. Your lungs are way down, almost up that low, down that low, I should say. So it's really important. Hold on, I'm going to share my screen again. Just want to show you what. Hold on. There it goes. The diaphragm. So the diaphragm is a big bell-shaped muscle. Runs from front to back and side to side all the way. And you see how that coming down a little bit on the back side, that actually goes along the spine there. That's actually the psoas muscle that attaches to the that attaches there. So it's such a unbelievable big powerful muscle. So what happens when every time you breathe, and so ideally when we take a deep breath, right, we're going to push our belly out, down, and out. And you do that, and it creates this negative pressure, and then the air will just come right into the lungs, right? So, and then you exhale. Ideally, we're going to breathe in through the nose. We're talking a little bit in about a sec. But if you really do this right and get that diaphragm moving, you're doing a lot of things. You can actually move your kidneys, sit right up and underneath it, and you can actually move your kidneys 2 to 3 centimeters, which is about an inch. And and then it helps massage all the intestines, and in Chinese medicine, if you've ever had acupuncture, they're working to get the meridians moving, to get that energy in the meridians moving. What that is, so when that's happening, it's the chi. That's the chi energy, right? In India, they call it prana. So it's the diaphragm that moves that chi. So it's so important. I'm sure you've all experienced it when you're tired, you're fatigued, and you start yawning. That's yawning's because you have a lot of built up carbon dioxide. So that's why you take a deep breath, fill that oxygen, and blow out. You're getting rid of a lot of carbon dioxide. So with where was I going with that? But then too, just even moving this, so you're stimulating the all your organs, and you're helping moving fluids. You're helping actually detoxify the body, and you're helping your body get more nutrition out of the foods you're eating. You could eat the best foods in the world, but if you can't digest it and actually absorb it, you're going to run into trouble. So anyhow, so it does all that, and like I said, you're doing it every day, all day. Take advantage of it. This is a superpower you have. So what I would recommend is, and then two, the whole thing is, what I like to do is practice with doing a little bit of right now. If we could, I'm going to have you, if you could, just sit up nice and straight, put your feet on the floor, if you could, and so I don't know about you. Before I go into that, I found myself the last 2 3 weeks doing a lot of sighing, and I think it's to do with the stress that I've been experiencing. It's been a little bit of a stressful period. So, but anyhow, I like the so what we're going to do, we're just going to practice the deep breathing. I like to just rest my hands down on the lower belly if we could, and just have them sitting there. And let's just have you push the belly out, or down and out. Breathe through your nose, and out through the mouth. What I'm not. I like to have people start with the more of the abdominal breathing early, especially when you're feeling anxious and uptight. And what's nice is if you're in a meeting or if you're in a place where you really can't be taking a real big deep breath, but you want to get that benefit, just push that belly down and out. So do that, and then now this time we're going to do that, and then we're going to move up a little higher into the lungs. But now what I want is not just push your lungs out, but think about your chest all the way from front to back. So I want you to when you take a breath, try to expand your ribs out in the back, the sides, the front. So let's just practice that. Take a deep breath in. Push those ribs all the way out and back to the sides. Takes practice. And then blow out. So I like to work with that first. So let's do that a couple of times. And let's just work on the lower 2/3. I raised my shoulders there. I didn't need to. So I'm just going to breathe, push out, expand those ribs. Expand those ribs. And just get that feeling. And it takes practice, but you get that feeling where you're expanding your ribs out, and that's your core. That's a big part of your core. So you get those muscles firing in the back. And we'll at the end, actually next week, I'm going to show you a couple of things to some more breathing exercises. But for this week, what I'm going to do is I want you to focus on this, and we're going to do one other breath. Hold on. Which one did I want to do? Yeah, let's do, a nice one actually to help for sleep. It's an easy one. So all you do, it's alternate nostril breathing. And we have our nose there's a polarity to our nostrils, left and right. And so what we're going to do, you can do this one of two ways. You can breathe just holding your left nostril, or you hold your left, so you're going to breathe in through the right. Me today, I'm a little clogged on the right. I've actually been eating cheese. I'm not supposed to eat cheese. That's what happens when I eat dairy. So, might be a little challenge. So I'm just going to, and actually you want to breathe, inhale in and out. And like I said, I'm really actually quite clogged today. I just realized I wasn't this bad earlier. Amy, you're clogged in both. isn't a good one for you today. Don't do it. But all righty. When you're not clogged, try it. See how it works. So thank you. So you're able to. You taught me some. So you actually have an option to type something in there. That's awesome. Thank you. All right. I'm gonna have to. All right. Now it says chat. There it is. Okay. Thank you. Once a teacher, always a teacher. You just can't help, can you, Amy? Good for you. You can tell. You see, you could bill CPS for teaching me. I'm a Chicago resident. So, oh, you can't raise your hand, but you can type. Perfect. All right. I love this. So, all right. Well, so, but you do that. But if and when that nose ever opens up, try it. Where you could and do it in and out 10 times, and then you could come to the other side. And it doesn't need to be big, deep breaths. But then what you can do when you really, after a while, what you can even do then is you can breathe in through the left, out through the right. In through the left, out through the right. Do that 10 times and then switch. In through the right, out through the left. And you do that alternate nose breathing. And what that does, it literally charges the brain in a different way. So very, very, very good for, you'll see that within a minute, you'll be way calmer. So that I wanted to that whole, and what that does too, that alternate nostril breathing, it helps make you, it reduces that cortisol level, and it can make you more alkaline. And the more alkaline and the more acidic you are, because there's alkaline and then acidity opposite side. So the more acidic you are, the more you have muscle aches, pains, and feel stiff. The more alkaline, the more loose and rubbery you are. So that's that. All right, so that's all I have for today. Actually, since Amy, since you can't do the nostril breathing, it might be hopefully that clears up soon enough, but because ideally we want to breathe in as much as we can through the nose anyhow, right? I mean, you got to breathe through whatever you got available, of course, but just a simple box breathing where you can breathe in for 4 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, out, 1, 2, 3, 4, in and out through the nose if you can, as best you can. And you do that for 10 times, in and out, 4 seconds each. 3, 4, out, 1, 2, 3, 4, and just in, 1, 2, 3, 4, out, 3, 4, and you just do that, and with that also is just really going to help reduce, and that'll help stimulate that vagus nerve. The vagus nerve, like I said, it's just so huge. That's all. I was going to show you something else, but I'm going to save that for next week. But the vagus nerve is, if we can get that vagus nerve stimulated, and we do that just by our breath, that's the best, most effective way to stimulate the vagus nerve. And what that does, it has such your insulin levels go down, your cortisol levels go down, your stress and anxiety. People they start doing these kind of breathing, and they sleep better. They have more energy. The anxieties go down. This is, and you could do this at any time during the day when you're feeling uptight. Do that box breathing, that 4 in, 4 out, 4 in, 4 out. Because the problem is it slows our breathing down. So if it takes you, because most of us are going to breathe about 14, 16 times a minute. Ideally, we're going to be breathing about 8 times a minute, 8 to 10. All right, when we're just relaxed. So, all right, Amy says dog allergies or allergies in general right now. Yes, you can do 5 seconds in, 5 out. You know, and some people are going to count faster. And because of me, it's whatever you're comfortable with. It doesn't, the number actually, because you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, or, well, then there's ones you could do with the whole 2. There's the Andrew Weil teaches the is it 4-7-8 or 4-7-8, where you breathe in for 4, hold for 7, breathe out for 8. So you can make things up yourself, but there's a lot of these out there. There's a ton of ways to do that right. Yeah, Andrew Weil, he's a big fan. I want to say it's 4-7-8. In 4, hold 7, out 8. And I even, you know, if you could even do like 8 in, 8 out, you know, or whatever. I mean, get creative. And what works for you. You know, if you say, man, every time I do it like this, I feel great. Well, keep doing it. And yeah, by all means. Anybody with questions? I'm gonna unmute everybody.
Hey, Doc, I have a few questions really quick.
Sure.
I was wondering how often should I practice this for the most benefit?
You know, the ultimate is a great way to start and end your day for sure. You know, because I would do that. But, you know, I think that to do the box breathing, I'm a fan of, you know, whenever I'm thinking about it, I'll just kind of, I try to become more conscious of my breathing. The more I'm conscious of my breathing, and I usually then I'll slow it down, you know, and because when you're, especially if I'm uptight, I like I said, the past few weeks I've found myself sighing a lot, just going, ah. So then I'm like, all right, well, let me really focus on my breathing. How am I breathing here? So I guess it's be aware and see what needs. You can't overdo it. Let's put it that way. You know, Dr. D.
Cool. Thank you.
Did you have another question there?
No, that was it for that one.
That was it. All righty. All righty. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you being on. I'm going to be posting my Amy, I'll send it to you, and I'll send it to you, Dr. D, my deep breathing, and I'll send it to you too, Carla. And whoever else watches this and they want it, by all means, please just let us know. And I got to figure out where we could post these things, you know. So
this is being recorded, right?
It is, correct.
If you send me the if you send me the recording, I can post it on Facebook, on your website, on your page.
Right. Okay. Oh, perfect. All right. Moselle Holistic.
Also, have you posted the link to join these on that Facebook page, like to invite people? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, a few times.
Yeah. So yesterday's that was recorded. Like, if I wanted to see that, if Carla posts it on the Facebook page, that's where I would get that then.
Yeah, we'll post them both. I'll send them both to you. Okay, Carla?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm going to record them. Yeah, we'll do that. I'll get that to you in the next 20 minutes.
I guess now I'm going to have to go friend your Facebook page. Gosh darn it.
You know, we're trying.
You don't want to be friends with Moselle Holistic?
I guess I have no choice now.
Well, I'm trying to make them fun. I mean, I've been going down to the river a lot of days, the Chicago River. It was really high last week. It was great. I posted with my bees the other day. I was 8 10 inches away from my bees, taking video. Anything for my people, you know.
All right. Well, maybe I already friended your page. I don't know. I'll go find out.
Yeah, you'll find out. All right, all. Well, thank you. And tomorrow, Amy, in case you're interested, Dr. D, he's going to be working with us once the dust settles here, and he's a fellow chiropractor. He's actually my nephew, and so he's coming to work with us, and he's teaching tomorrow about balance and foot care.
All right.
Yeah. So if you can attend, it'd be awesome. All right.
I'll clear my calendar.
Exactly.
I like your picture behind you, Amy.
Thank you. I wish I was there.
Me too.